Gentlemen, if you're over 60 and you've noticed that things just aren't working the way they used to, if you're struggling to perform in the bedroom, if your morning erections have become a distant memory, or if you feel like your manhood is slowly slipping away, then what I'm about to tell you could change everything. The fruit you're eating for breakfast, yes, that innocent piece of fruit you've been told is healthy your entire life, could be the silent assassin that's killing your testosterone, destroying your blood flow, and robbing you of your ability to be the man you once were. I'm Dr. David, and for over 3 decades, I've dedicated my life to helping men reclaim their sexual vitality naturally. And today, I'm going to expose 7 specific fruits that are quietly sabotaging your manhood. Fruits that are probably sitting in your kitchen right now. Look, I get it. I've been there myself. At 65, I thought my best days were behind me. I accepted that declining performance was just part of aging. I believed what everyone told me, that it was natural, inevitable, just the way life goes. But I was wrong, dead wrong. What I discovered, both through my medical practice and my own personal journey, is that many of the foods we've been told are healthy are actually working against us. And the worst part? We're doing it to ourselves every single morning, thinking we're making the right choice. The pharmaceutical industry wants you to believe you need expensive pills. The supplement companies want you to think you need their magic formulas. But the truth is simpler and scarier than you might imagine. In the next minutes, I'm going to show you exactly which 7 fruits are stealing your manhood day by day. I'll explain the science behind why they're so dangerous for men our age, and more importantly, I'll give you a clear action plan to start reclaiming your sexual power starting tomorrow morning. This isn't about blame or shame. This is about taking back control of your life. Because here's what I know for certain. You're not broken. You're not too old. And it's not too late. Your body still has the ability to respond, to perform, and to satisfy both you and your partner. You just need to stop feeding it the wrong fuel. So if you're ready to discover the truth that the food industry doesn't want you to know, if you're ready to fight for your manhood instead of surrendering to it, then stay with me. Because what you learn in the next few minutes could give you back years of confidence, pleasure, and vitality. And if this resonates with you, do me a favor. Type the number 1 in the comments. If you think I'm full of it, type 0. I want to know where you stand because your feedback helps me create content that actually changes lives. Fruit number 1, bananas, especially overripe. Let's start with the biggest culprit, one that's probably on your counter right now, maybe even in your breakfast routine. I'm talking about bananas, especially those soft, spotted ones that seem so convenient and harmless. For most of my adult life, I grabbed a banana almost every morning. Quick, easy, potassium-rich. What could be wrong with that? Well, everything, as it turns out. Here's what happens when you eat a banana first thing in the morning. As bananas ripen, their starch converts to sugar. Lots of it. That soft, sweet banana floods your bloodstream with fast-digesting sugars, triggering a massive insulin response. Now, for a 30-year-old man, this might not be a big deal. But for men over 60, insulin acts like a hormonal wrecking ball. It suppresses testosterone production, disrupts nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for erections, and inflames the blood vessels your penis depends on for performance. You might not notice it immediately. Maybe you just don't wake up as hard one morning. Then it happens again. Eventually, you start thinking this is just what aging looks like. But it's not aging, it's breakfast. The damage is slow and silent. One banana won't kill your sex life, but eating them regularly, especially on an empty stomach, creates a pattern of hormonal chaos that your body can't recover from the way it used to. If you absolutely must have bananas, never eat them alone and never on an empty stomach. Have them later in the day with protein or healthy fat to slow the sugar absorption. Better yet, find a different potassium source, like avocados. Fruit number 2, grapes. Now, if you thought bananas were surprising, wait until you hear about these little purple time bombs that seem so innocent. I used to grab handfuls of grapes straight from the fridge, thinking I was making a smart snack choice. They're small, they're natural, they're packed with antioxidants, right? Wrong, at least for men our age. Grapes are essentially nature's candy. Pure concentrated sugar in a tiny package. Because they're mostly water and sugar with minimal fiber, they hit your bloodstream like a freight train when eaten on an empty stomach. Here's the cascade effect. Blood sugar spikes, insulin floods your system, and testosterone gets choked off. Meanwhile, the blood vessels that feed your erections start to tighten and inflame. Do this day after day, and you're slowly but surely eroding your sexual foundation. The worst part? You may not connect the dots. You eat grapes thinking you're being healthy, but over time, you notice your confidence isn't what it used to be. You don't respond to stimulation like before. You start believing this is just the new normal. But it's not normal. It's the fruit bowl. If you enjoy grapes, save them for after a protein-rich meal when your blood sugar is stable. Never eat them first thing in the morning, and definitely never on an empty stomach. Fruit number 3, orange juice. But gentlemen, nothing, and I mean nothing, is more dangerous to your sexual health than what millions of American men drink with breakfast every single day. Orange juice, the all-American breakfast drink. I remember growing up thinking a glass of OJ was the perfect way to start the day. Vitamin C, right? It felt refreshing, energizing, healthy. But that morning ritual was slowly destroying my sexual health. And if you're still drinking orange juice with breakfast, it's destroying yours too. Here's what they don't tell you. Orange juice isn't health food. It's liquid sugar. One glass contains as much sugar as a can of Coca-Cola, sometimes more. But unlike soda, we drink it thinking we're being healthy. When you drink orange juice on an empty stomach, there's no fiber, no fat, no protein to slow that sugar down. It hits your bloodstream instantly, causing a massive blood sugar spike that triggers a flood of insulin. That insulin surge does 3 things that destroy your sexual performance. It shuts down testosterone production, it narrows your blood vessels, and it creates systemic inflammation throughout your body. You might feel alert for an hour or 2 after drinking it, but by mid-morning, you crash. Your energy dips, your motivation drops, and slowly, very slowly, your sexual response weakens until you start believing it's just age. It's not age, it's orange juice. If you want citrus in the morning, eat a whole orange instead. The fiber will slow absorption. Better yet, start your day with water and save any fruit for after a protein-rich meal. Fruit number 4, watermelon. Now this next one is going to shock you because it's a fruit that many men actually believe helps with erections. Watermelon. I used to think it was a superfood for sexual health. I'd heard it contained citrulline, a compound that can help with blood flow, so I'd eat big slices on hot summer days, feeling like I was doing my manhood a favor. And yes, watermelon does contain citrulline. But here's what I didn't understand. When you eat watermelon the wrong way, especially in the morning or in large amounts, it can work against the very thing you're trying to protect. Watermelon is over 90% water, but it's also packed with natural sugars and has a high glycemic load. When you eat it on an empty stomach, especially at breakfast, it floods your system with sugar fast. That rapid sugar rush triggers the same hormonal chain reaction we've been talking about: insulin spikes, testosterone suppression, and reduced nitric oxide production. The very circulation you need for strong erections gets interrupted before your day even begins. Even worse, because watermelon digests so quickly, it doesn't keep you full. You're more likely to crash mid-morning and reach for more sugar, starting a vicious cycle that robs you of energy, mood, and confidence. The tragic irony? You may never connect that slow decline in your sexual function to a fruit you thought was helping you. If you enjoy watermelon, eat it sparingly and never first thing in the morning. Have a few slices after a protein-based lunch when your blood sugar is stable. That's when your body can handle it without paying the hidden price. Fruit number 5. Mangoes. I'll be honest with you, this next fruit was one of the hardest for me to give up. Mangoes. They're juicy, sweet, and bring back memories of summer vacations and tropical getaways. For years, I didn't think twice about slicing one up and enjoying it first thing in the morning. But what I didn't understand was that something so delicious could be quietly working against my hormones, my circulation, and my ability to perform as a man. Here's what most men don't know about mangoes. They're incredibly high in fructose, the type of sugar that goes straight to your liver. When you're young and active, your body might handle that sugar spike without too much trouble. But after 60, when insulin sensitivity decreases and your liver may already be under strain, that same fruit can lead to serious problems. Excess fructose from mangoes contributes to fatty liver buildup, which is directly linked to lower testosterone levels. When testosterone drops, so does your ability to get and maintain strong erections. Not only that, but mango's high sugar content spikes your blood glucose, triggering that familiar insulin response that further suppresses the very hormones and vascular function you need for healthy intimacy. Because mangoes digest quickly, you're left hungry again soon after, setting you up for a roller coaster of energy crashes throughout the day. This pattern of sugar highs and crashes is devastating for sexual health. If you love mangoes as much as I do, here's my advice. Treat them like dessert. Enjoy them in small portions after lunch when your blood sugar is stable and you've had protein to buffer the impact. But never eat them alone in the morning. That's when the damage hits hardest. Fruit number 6. Pineapple. Now, what I'm about to tell you about this next fruit might shock you even more because it's often recommended for digestive health. Pineapple. It always felt like a symbol of health and vitality. Bright, tropical, full of flavor and vitamins. For years, I believed it was one of the best fruits I could eat. Refreshing, loaded with nutrients, great for digestion thanks to its enzymes. But what I didn't realize, and what so many men over 60 still don't know, is that pineapple might be quietly undermining your manhood. It doesn't seem dangerous, and that's what makes it so deceptive. Here's the truth. Pineapple is extremely high in natural sugar, almost deceptively so. Just 1 cup can deliver more than 16 grams of sugar with very little fiber to slow it down. When you eat pineapple first thing in the morning, especially by itself, you're setting off a chain reaction. Blood sugar rises quickly, insulin surges, and within minutes, your body is dealing with inflammation, hormonal imbalance, and reduced nitric oxide, the very molecule responsible for creating strong, lasting erections. For men over 60, this response happens faster and hits harder. Your body doesn't buffer sugar like it used to, which means even healthy-looking choices like pineapple can do silent damage over time. You may not feel the effects today, but over weeks, months, and years, it takes a toll. Until one day you realize you're not waking up the same way. Your desire fades, your response weakens, and almost no one sees the connection back to that innocent tropical fruit. If you enjoy pineapple, have it after lunch or dinner when your body's more prepared to handle the sugar. Never eat it on an empty stomach, and never make it a breakfast staple. Your hormones will thank you. Fruit number 7. Dried fruits. And now we come to the most deceptive group of all, the ones that fooled me for decades. Dried fruits, raisins, dates, dried apricots. If there's one group of fruits that fooled me for years, it's these. They seemed like the smarter choice. Small, convenient, labeled as natural snacks packed with fiber and nutrients. I used to toss a handful into my oatmeal or munch on them with my coffee, thinking I was doing something good for my body. But here's the truth. Dried fruit is nothing more than concentrated sugar in disguise. Once the water is removed, all that's left is a dense hit of fructose with very little fiber to slow absorption. Your body processes it exactly like candy, especially when eaten first thing in the morning. For men over 60, that quick sugar rush kicks off a devastating cascade. Insulin spikes, inflammation rises, testosterone dips, and blood flow tightens. You might not feel it right away, but if you've noticed your morning erections becoming weaker or less frequent, this might be one of the hidden reasons why. The problem with dried fruit is how sneaky it is. It feels healthy, it feels light, but when you eat it alone, especially on an empty stomach, your body responds like you've just eaten a sugary dessert. A small box of raisins contains the same amount of sugar as several fresh grapes, but in a much more concentrated form. Your body gets overwhelmed trying to process it all at once. If you still want to enjoy dried fruit, keep it minimal and eat it after a balanced meal with protein and fat. Never as a standalone breakfast item. Your sexual health depends on making this simple change. What you need to do today. I know this might feel overwhelming, especially if some of these fruits have been part of your daily routine for years. I get it. I was in the same boat. For most of my adult life, I believed I was eating clean. I thought I was doing the right thing. And I never made the connection between what was on my breakfast plate and what was quietly disappearing from my life, my energy, my drive, my ability to respond like I used to. But once I saw the pattern, not just in myself but in patient after patient, the truth became clear. These so-called healthy breakfast fruits were silently eroding erection quality day by day, sugar hit by sugar hit. Not with loud warning signs, but with small losses that accumulated over time until I believed this was just what aging looked like. It's not. The good news is you don't have to change everything overnight, but you do need to start. Starting tomorrow morning, clear your breakfast of these 7 fruits. Replace them with foods that stabilize blood sugar and support blood flow. Eggs with healthy fats. Avocado on whole grain toast. Berries in moderation with Greek yogurt. Nuts and seeds. Drink water first thing, not juice. Most importantly, listen to how your body responds. Because it will. You might be surprised by how quickly things begin to change. You might even wake up one morning soon and realize you feel like yourself again. And if you're wondering what foods actually boost erections naturally, I'll be covering that in my next video. I'll show you the exact fruits and foods that fuel your performance and help restore the kind of strength most men think they've lost forever. Thank you for listening, for staying curious, and most of all, for caring enough about your health to question what you've always been told. Because the truth is, the 7 fruits we've talked about today, bananas, grapes, orange juice, watermelon, mangoes, pineapple, and dried fruits. They don't come with warning labels. They look innocent. They're even marketed as health foods. But when you're a man over 60, your body doesn't handle sugar like it used to. What might seem like a harmless breakfast choice can quietly chip away at your hormones, your blood flow, and your ability to feel like yourself in the bedroom. I've seen it happen time and time again, not just in my patients, but in my own life. And I've also seen how quickly things can turn around when you make small, consistent changes. This isn't about fear, it's about empowerment. You're not broken, you're not too old, you're just operating on outdated information. But now you know better, and that puts you in control. So tomorrow morning, make a different choice. Say no to the sugar-laden fruits. Choose real nourishment instead. Your energy will rise, your focus will return, and your erections, they'll follow. Maybe not overnight, but sooner than you think. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button and let me know in the comments. Type 1 if you're ready to make these changes. Type 0 if you need more convincing. Your feedback helps me create content that actually changes lives. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell, because I'll be sharing the foods that actually boost your sexual health in the next video. Remember, this is just one piece of the puzzle. There are foods, fruits included, that can actively improve blood flow, boost testosterone, and reignite the spark you thought was fading. I'll be sharing those with you next, because your health, your vitality, and your manhood are worth fighting for. Let's rebuild it, one morning at a time. Until next time, gentlemen, stay strong, stay informed, and never stop believing in your ability to reclaim what's rightfully yours.